Good evening. My name is Jane Hiram. I would like to talk about trip to London. It was a global field trip organized by the Mac School of Business, University of Baltimore. And first of all, I want to thank the Merrick School of Business for this opportunity. This trip, as I can say, was transformational. Also, I would say, for myself, it's something that happens once in a lifetime, and it's a chance that comes, and I grabbed it, and I really can say I enjoyed the trip. I learned a lot. I came out of my comfort zone, whereby in America everything seems to flow, and you kind of take it for granted. You get in your car, you drive where you're going, you go shopping and everything. You don't have to hustle and bustle with the subway or the train, whereby I saw another way of executives even going to work. Everybody uses the tube or the train or the bus in London, and is the norm. People ride the bicycle, and is very convenient. Everything there is just convenient. As we visited the many places that academic visits, some were more of being opened up to the accounting world, as for myself, an accounting major, and also knowing how companies can come from scratch. Like the very first we visited was the Mini. Two things, they have been in business for so long, and the automation. I've never been to a place where cars are made, or a manufacturing company like that. That was transformational. It's something that I really enjoyed being there. Learning more about it, and also a little bit of we talked about the Brexit. They were not ready to talk about it, as they're going through that whole episode of leaving the EU, how it's going to affect them. And sometimes when you think about politicians deciding to do some things for their political benefits, sometimes they really don't think the repercussions that might happen to the common people. Because if you think about it, if Brexit did happen, we don't know yet, it's really going to affect the Mini and the employees there, and the production is, the company produces 1,000 cars a day. I'm sure it brings a lot of money to Britain, so that wasn't a good thing. Another thing I learned about them, they reuse rainwater. The environmental friendly. One of their new buildings is also environmental friendly. It doesn't need heating or cooling. That's a good thing. They're saving energy. They're going green. As we continued on our trips to the University of Oxford, just to be there, apparently it's the most prestigious university in the world. Just visiting and taking pictures around it felt so good. We visited the city of Oxford, the medieval times, the medieval churches, really great. Following days, we went to academic visit to ICEEW, that is the Chartered Accountant for England and Wales. It's like the CPA of America. They're the ones who monitor the chartered accountants who are, certified accountants in Europe or in UK. The only thing I took from there is that it's the same thing as here, just the exams and how they give certifications is a little different. By the end of the day, they are accountants. One thing I took from there is the way they are diverting their goal to encompass and inclusiveness of making the world a better place for everybody. From that world to wherever we are, they were challenging us on these cards, wherever you are, do you try to make it a better place for everybody else to live in this world? As we continue to the IFRS, their challenges is the fact that, they're trying to have these standards implemented all over the world. It's not the rule, but it's a way of financial reporting, which they want to be standardized between, except here in America, we use GAAP, but in Europe, they use the IFRS, and also including the Middle East and other countries and a part of Africa. One thing I liked about it, they were very inclusive. They had members from all over the world. Even we were represented in America, even though we don't use them. And I think that's a good thing, that they're trying to have the same standard everywhere. It could be a little different from GAAP, but the standards are the same, the financial reporting. But the other thing I noticed that it takes a long time for them to change, to have an amendment or a new AU on the IFRS. And I think it's the same thing here with Gap, but it's always good to be informed when they change these things as an accountant. So I thought about it and I figured, oh, every time they have IFRS have a new accounting standard or a Gap accounting standard, one need to follow up and know how long it took them as an accountant. I thought that was cool. As we went to the Museum of London, we walked. The scenery was good, was fantastic. Just getting to walk around London, something, as myself having grown up in Africa and in a village, I didn't really think that could be something I dreamt of. You could dream, but, dreams happen, but this one came true. Doesn't really mean that I wouldn't have had the chance as quickly, but I did because of Merrick School of Business, University of Baltimore. It also was fascinating to see where they have come from. Europe has come from far, from the medieval times when they used the bicycle, during the fire of London, the plague, and all those things. But one thing I noticed, the monarchy has been there forever, and it seems like the monarchy is not that affected, but people have come from far, and they have evolved, whereby it's good because we copy them. People in Africa just copy the British because they have come from far. As we went to Greenwich, University of Greenwich, very expensive university. I googled the tuition is very high. But also, when I asked the professor who are most of the students, he said, actually, the University of Greenwich, 70% of the students are not from London. They're not even from England. They are from all over the world. So, making a lot of money. He spoke about where we're headed. Just like if 20 years ago, somebody would have said, we're not going to be having house phones. Somebody would have said, no, that's not going to happen. Or DVD or VHS. Now he's talking about the next thing, which is drone delivery, smart cities, smart, RFDS, houses being connectivity and all that. And maybe eventually we will not have to worry about, trash collection will be all automated. Like he was saying, they'll only pick what is full, or the trash cans that are full, so saving energy. I thought that was interesting. Then a boat ride on the River Thames. Wow, you read about the River Thames when I was in high school in geography. Well, really, I took a boat ride on River Thames, so the London Bridge and all that. Thursday was free. Met a family member, a cousin, and went shopping, so that was cool. Then Friday was my best day, I can say. I went to Deloitte of London. We were all waited for by the panel. Good. It was an open forum. Americans. What can I say? Really interesting. They had the idea of you ask the questions and you keep it rolling. So they made a group that was ready to ask questions. My first question was about the taxes. We have a new tax law that was enacted by the new administration. And I was wondering, because they do international business, I would just ask them, how is that going to affect how they do business in advisory services? And they were like, well, it's a big, huge thing. They're still working on it. It's going to take them a while for Deloitte, because advisory services through Deloitte is, where they try to get their clients to understand and where do you pay less taxes? How do you invest your money? And also how they were saying that, accounting now is more electronic, and the automation, data collection and all that. I thought it was cool. Our last official visit was the Lloyd's of London. Different business model. What can I say? They charge £1,000 per square foot. What in the world? How much money are they making? But they are apparently non-profit. They're sitting on £79 billion pounds. But they act like a bumper for any insurance company that may not pay for a loss. Then they would come in and, they would pay the loss to the insurer. I thought that was cool, but it's the only kind of a business that is like that all over the world. So at this time, in this day and age, they are enjoying monopoly, which is huge. They bring a lot of money to London, so they are a prestigious company. The Queen has gone there. Prince Charles has gone there. But I got to touch real gold. They have their dining room upstairs somewhere because the architecture is enormous. It's just something you would want to look at all the time. The stairs, it was a building and a half. And I thought that was, whether it wasn't really related to my accounting, I thought it was a good place to go and see something different. How the person who started it just started it as, he wanted to know how the ships are going and coming, because by then they would rate, or the ship went, it take 3 months or 6 months. And to say they still have the log. That was really interesting. All I can say is that I encourage anybody who would want to take a business a global field trip from the University of Baltimore. It is a wonderful experience. And if you get a chance, they should not miss it. It is one thing that is, you can't really rate it. It's something that is in you. I will always remember. I'll always be thankful. And with that said, I say that I'm thankful all through. Thank you.